Well, good day, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with all of you here today. As mentioned, my name is Carl Camp, and I'm also joined by Omar Tabaka, and we're both solutions architect with our dedicated credit unions team here at AWS. And so today, we're excited to share with you our knowledge on modernizing your data analytics platforms using AWS. Now, for those who might have joined later, right, if you have any questions during this presentation, we do have a Q&A feature of this webinar, so you can ask those questions there and we can address them accordingly. And so as part of this presentation, we are going to take a look at the use cases, and where you can move on to the next slide. There you go. Going to take a look at the use cases where financial services organizations have adopted technologies and strategies to modernize their data. Next, we will explore a couple of modern architectural approaches at a high level and the benefits of each of them. Next, we'll explore some new solutions and the specific use cases that they solve. And then finally, we'll address how you can get started using AWS technologies to start modernizing your data platform today. And so with that, let's get started. So then, financial services have had a long history of operating on AWS, many of whom have stories that you can look on in YouTube. And some of those that are mentioned here, right, you can actually research them and take a look at their use cases all across different segments such as banking, capital markets, insurance, and payments. Now, this timeline, right, just provides a few examples of customers who have presented their data modernization journey at various AWS conferences across a number of different use cases. However, really, why such a focus on data, right? What's really the purpose of if my members are happy, right? If they're getting all the financial services that they need, right? Then what's the point of taking the time to invest in more advanced data processing and analytics? So to put it simply, advanced data analytics unlocks the opportunities for innovation across the value chain of your financial services members. And so, for example, right, one of the most valuable things that you can do with your data is that you can create a 360-degree view of your customer. And in this way, you can deliver consistent experience across different communication platforms and minimize lost customers while maximizing the ability for the customer to rely on your services if and when they need to save money or, for example, procure a loan. Further, with advanced data analytics, you can build automated pipelines and eliminate manual processes. Next, you can start leveraging high-performance computing for such things as performing risk analysis on your workloads and stress testing, and also developing quantitative strategies to more effectively leverage your capital. And then finally, and this is, as we mentioned, all the rage in technology these days, you really can't take advantage of machine learning effectively without advanced data analytics. And sure, you can still leverage managed AI tools, but without good data, these solutions will not be catered to your members and will provide a suboptimal experience. So now, I hope I've made the case that specifically we want advanced data analytics, not just the raw data itself. And that is what's actually useful for financial services organizations. And so what we need to do is we have to move away from using Excel spreadsheets and basic databases for our members. The members that you serve deserve better. What we need then is a modern data architecture. Now, adopting a modern data architecture enables financial services to deploy the strategies we had previously mentioned, such as gaining a 360-degree view of your customer, business process automation, HPC, and leveraging machine learning. So in general, this involves grabbing data from multiple different sources and ingesting them into that data platform. And once that data is ingested, it needs to be processed, which means it has to be cleaned, deduplicated, and we need to add metadata to make the necessary connections. And then finally, the data needs to be stored in a durable location to ensure the data is not lost. And after all that is done, we can begin doing data analytics on the platform. One thing that was mentioned before, right, and this is really important, all that data needs to be governed through a well-defined data governance strategy, with detailed policies defining what each employee has access to in the data lifecycle process. So in addition to these high-level technical requirements, right, the following business considerations also are key as well. We need our solution to handle an increase in volume, velocity, and variety of data. We need each component to be independently scalable. And then finally, the data must be easily accessible and shareable across multiple teams and platforms. And so with this in mind, we're going to explore three modern data architecture approaches that are leveraged by financial services in the industry. And so when it comes to data, everything begins with the data lake. Now, I hope, right, the data lake is nothing new, and I hope many of you have probably heard of a data lake before, right? And the idea of a data lake is that you can ingest multiple types of different data and store them in a single location where it can be cataloged, cleaned up, and then used for data analytics in the process. And so here, right, I know I'm presenting a possible architecture that it can look like, and there's a lot of different services. I don't want you to worry about all the services. I really want you to keep the four categories that we discussed previously, and that of data ingestion, data processing, data storage, and data analytics in mind as I go through these. So as you can see here, right, on the far left here, right, AWS has multiple services to ingest all different types of data. It can process it using those tools, and then it can store that data into Amazon S3, our object storage solution. And once that data is in S3, often the data needs to be cataloged and tagged for each file, which can be done using AWS Glue. And then from there, for effective search of the data in its raw form, you can leverage our Amazon Athena service, which uses the data catalog to facilitate SQL queries against the files. And then finally, right, analysts can then build reports using Amazon QuickSight, which has generative AI capabilities. And also the data can be put into Redshift for our data warehousing solution. Now, all of this is to say is that when all of your data is stored in a single location, such as a data lake, from there you have the ability to clean it up and combine it through our cataloging services to then make use of it. Next, we have our lakehouse architecture. Now, what makes this architecture compelling is the ability to extend the scope of our data warehousing solution, Amazon Redshift, to your S3 data lake and other databases without leaving the Redshift environment. And Omar, I don't know if you've moved on to the next slide. Thank you. So this is really what we call the lakehouse approach. The ability to pull data back and forth between the data lake, data warehouse, and other analytics solutions. Now, a lakehouse approach makes it easy to access data across applications, repositories, and lines of business to gain deeper insights beyond what's possible with a simple data lake. And so for many customers, working with structured and semi-structured data is still the primary source of analytics. And as such, Amazon Redshift is a highly performant exabyte scale data warehouse for complex queries and analytics. And so with Redshift, you can query and combine exabytes of structured and semi-structured data across your data warehouse, operational databases, and data lake using basically standard SQL. And so Redshift lets you easily save the results of your queries back into your S3 data lake in open formats such as Apache Parquet, so you can do additional analytics from other services like Amazon EMR, Amazon Athena, and our machine learning service, Amazon SageMaker. And then finally, the last architecture I want to explore here is our data mesh architecture. Now, this is our most advanced architecture, or at least what we see our most advanced customers use, right? Is that when they understand that a data lake is more than just data, right? That's actually a product, right? They really reflect the realities of how data is generated and processed and shared across their organization. And so these customers then build a data mesh that enables the governed sharing of data across their data lakes. Another definition of a data mesh, right, is that it is a decentralized domain-oriented data system to drive governed sharing across data lakes. Now, let me just break this down a little bit more. So A data mesh, as we mentioned, is decentralized. And so this means that different teams have ownership of different data products. And so this ownership is typically domain oriented, right? So for example, let's say my domain is that I'm a web team and I may be responsible for processing log data to create curated data sets that can be shared across other lines of business in an organization. For example, I might share that data with the marketing or engineering teams. Now, these lines of business may also have to create and share their own curated data sets to then share maybe back to the web team or maybe another team. And so when the teams have the mindset that their data is a product, this encourages different data owners to think of the data sets as something valuable, as something that will be used across your organization. And of course, all of the sharing has to be governed in order to ensure that the organization complies with applicable regulations. And so, with all this in mind, where does a financial organization start? And does AWS provide any guidance specifically for financial services customers? And with that, I'll invite Omar to share some solutions and next steps that you can take for your data architecture modernization. So take it away, Omar.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Carl. So quick introduction from me. My name is Omar Tabaka. Just like Carl, I'm a solution architect with the financial services team. I've been working within the financial industry now for the last 5 years. So now let's go and build on top of the foundation that Carl helped us set up in terms of analytics within AWS and discuss some of our new solutions and use cases. So the first thing I want to cover is two new services, and then from there we'll go into reference architecture and discuss how a customer was able to leverage a data lake within AWS and the benefits they found from that. So the first thing I want to discuss is Amazon Data Zone. This is a data management service, and it's going to make it faster and easier for you to catalog, discover, share, and govern data stored across your AWS on-premise and third-party sources. Right, so this is going to give you that ability to govern data across organizational boundaries. It's going to increase your business team's efficiency by giving them the ability to collaborate seamlessly across teams and provide them self-service access to data and analytic tools. So some use cases that we see here in terms of leveraging the service, Carl touched up on it earlier, is the ability to build a data mesh, right? Financial service organizations now have the ability to simplify data mesh deployments, right? So now you can integrate your technical data catalogs with your business catalog data and get that 360-degree view of all your business data in one area. You could also enable self-service data sets. This means data consumers can locate and get access to data sets they need for advanced analytics and machine learning. And then finally, a big thing is the ability to audit the data set usage, right? A lot of times you're going to have within financial services, you're going to have sensitive data, right? Customer information, PII, financial data that you need to ensure stays secure and also provide regulators information around access controls and audit logs for those data sets. We also have clean rooms. So this is going to help you and your partner to more easily, securely match, analyze, and collaborate on your combined data sets. So the big key here is the ability to share and reveal the ability to work on each other's data sets without actually sharing or revealing the underlying data. So let me give you an example. Let's say you have a credit card company and a retail partner, and they're both setting up their environment in AWS and agreed to use AWS Cleanroom to collaborate. So both parties now have the ability to define the rules for the collaboration. So for instance, let's say they agree on like the only results that we want to be generated are aggregated results, right? No raw data could be exported or viewed by either party from both sides. And then analysts from both credit card company and retail partner can write SQL queries, join up their data sets, and perform any metrics as long as it falls within the rules that were defined. So some use cases that we're seeing within the financial services industry is when you have private equity mergers and acquisitions, right? The ability to share sensitive data as part of that pre-transaction due diligence, industry collaboration, right? You have a lot of different companies out there that want to take advantage of their data sets and work together to train models on data sets that they share with each other. And finally, internal data sharing. When you have multiple data sets across different business units within an organization, you need the ability to securely analyze these data sets across from each other. So now that we talked about those two different services that could help you manage and collaboratively work on your data sets within AWS, I want to talk about this reference architecture that we have here. So here, this reference architecture is a guidance that we provide financial institutions. This is going to help you securely replicate and transform your core banking data in AWS, unlocking actionable insights. Like, let's say you have new loss returning members, deposit growth, loan growth, debit card distribution, and a bunch of other metrics that you have. And you want to unlock insights that's going to help alleviate your member understanding, drive revenue growth, and enhance decision-making processes, then this is something that you'd want to build out. So let's walk through on how you can leverage and build out a data lake to facilitate data transformation and visualization. So in this specific use case, we're replicating data from a core banking system, but like Carl showed earlier, right, there's plenty of different sources, whether you have historical data, other types of application. This same reference architecture will work across all those. In this specific use case here, where we're taking advantage of our core banking system, we're going to securely connect our corporate data center with AWS, and this could be done using either Direct Connect or site-to-site VPN. In this case, we recommend a AWS Direct Connect so you could have that dedicated bandwidth. And from there, we could establish and securely replicate data from our core banking system to an S3 bucket. From there, we are dumping all our raw data within this S3 bucket and taking advantage of Amazon EMR. So with an EMR cluster, we could spin up a Apache Spark instance. And with this, we could actually transform our data, right? We're taking that raw data and transforming it into data sets that we could query in the future. From there, we'll step into step 5. So this is where we take advantage of AWS Lake Formation. This is going to be used to help you create, streamline, and manage the data lake infrastructure, as well as enforce the security and governance policies. From there, we're going to take advantage of both AWS Glue Data Catalog and crawlers to actually scan our data sets within our data lake, classify it, extract schema information from it, and then store that metadata automatically in the AWS Glue Data Catalog. Then we're going to take advantage of Amazon Redshift, which is our cloud warehousing solution, and actually run SQL queries against our data lake, right, against our structured and semi-structured data. And finally, at the end of it, we're going to visualize our data sets, right? We're going to have these dashboards that we could actually go in there and view our data and actually understand and extract actionable insights from our data lake. Steps 8 and 9 is more around different services and tools we have to monitor and observe the application and the data lake to ensure that everything is up and running, it's working, and you're staying within compliance. Step 9 is covering 2 different services we have around security. We have IAM, which is Identity and Access Management. This is what's going to give you the ability to decide who or what can access specific services within your AWS environment. We also have the AWS Key Management Service, and this is going to let you create, manage, and control your cryptographic keys across your applications. Because again, we want to make sure we stay compliant. We want to make sure all data is encrypted from the source all the way through the raw data bucket down to the business data. And the main purpose, so we highly recommend that our customers modernize their data strategy and go with a more advanced analytics strategy to do something like this, right? Extract actionable insights from their data and elevate their member experience and also grow their organization. But another key benefit of having your data and your data lake within AWS is the ability to take advantage of our machine learning and AI services as well. So in this example, I just wanted to showcase just a basic functionality of AI integration into our business intelligence tool, QuickSight. So in this case here, you're seeing you could use natural language to generate dashboards and also make changes to dashboards. So here, as you can see, we're typing in change date granularity to month, add color by region, change chart type to vertical, stacked bar, hit build, and you see the changes right there. Another very cool functionality is now you know you have all your data sets within AWS and we have these dashboards. You could actually go in here and build out a story, right? Again, this could be any natural language story that you want. In this case right here, we're building out a story to see how we can convert free trials to paid accounts. So what's going to happen is the QuickSight AI engine is going to go in there, look at your data set, and understand why users are not converting based on your data sets. And it's going to provide recommendations on different things you could do to actually convert free trial users to paid members. Again, this is just an example story. Based on your data set, you can create any story you want. So I'll actually have this run through one more time. So as you can see here, it's taking that data, those dashboards you have, it shows a free trial sign up trend over here. It's explaining to you why users are not converting, and then it's giving you recommendations on how you can convert users based on past users that converted, right? Follow-up emails, bundling certain deals, next steps, conclusion, etc. And then finally, I wanted to end it with an example use case, a study use case that one of my customers just recently did, which was Together Credit Union, right? They built a centralized data lake for themselves. And just the background about them is they are a credit union, right? So they have 30 branches across the US and they hold more than $2 billion in assets. And one issue they're running into was they wanted to understand how their branches are performing. And the issue was the branch managers had to wait for monthly reports. This is a process that I'm sure some of you are aware of today, right? It's a very manual, involved data collection and querying on transactional system. So it takes a lot of IT time resources to actually get those insights. And by the time the branches receive those key performance indicators, they don't have time to react because by the time the data was delivered, it was almost 2 months old. So one thing that Paul, who is the director of data architecture at Together Credit Union, mentioned that it's harder to find your goals and adjust internal processes to meet them when you don't know where you're at in the moment. So by building a centralized data lake on AWS, they're actually able to go from 2 months to near real-time insights for their branch managers, which enhance their operational efficiency, improve their member experience, and also allowed for self-service data access, right? So now the branch managers can go in there and access the data whenever they need it, whenever they want. They no longer have to reach out to IT, and IT no longer has to spend hours of manual work actually going in and trying to generate the key performance indicators they need. And one last thing I want to touch up on is the different offerings, workshops, and resources we have at AWS to help you get started, right? A lot of our different customers can range from having no data strategy to being advanced. So we're always here to meet you where you're at, right? Whether it's an immersion day or workshop where we could actually come on site or do a virtual event free of cost to the customer, where we could help enable your resources, your engineers, help you understand our data analytics services, run you through workshops so you can get that hands-on experience. We also have a data-driven everything event where we could actually partner you with AWS data experts to help you understand your data and come up with a compelling use case in POC and data strategy. And finally, we have a professional services and partner network. So if you don't have any expertise in-house with AWS, you want to build out a POC, build integrations with your current system to productionize, and to see if this is the right service for you, we also have that you can take advantage of. And thank you very much, everyone.